on the Mary Perkins-Williams show. I just happen to be a county commissioner, and today I'm going solo. I don't have a guest, but boy, do I have some sugar plum dancing in our head for the community. Today, I'm going to share some things that I know that's in Pitt County, and we are coming up on the 250th year for the country, for the country. So, with that being said, and I really like history. Maybe I'm not a lover of history, but I do like the documentation thereof. My background is research, such and back in the day it was called library science and a librarian. Now they call you tech, technical productions or something. But anyway, I want to share some things with you. A lot of the history that we've had in the past uh, has not been documented. I do know that East Carolina University, Joiner Library, has a collection um, called Special Collections. There are papers there from some of the people who are no longer living, such as my mother used to call him Professor Lewis. He was the principal at Stokes Elementary School during the days of segregation, and he and his wife both in was in education, and they started um, a collection over there with a few papers because not too many people was at it open with having things at or having papers and information at East Carolina University, where I was employed from July 1970 to December 1998. So, with that being said, let me recognize the sponsor here today, Awesome Radio Network, WECU uh, uh, on digital, 1570 AM, Winterville and Greenville, 107.5 on the FM dial. There is a station, it's being recorded in Rocky Mount as well, WBIS LP and 106.9 FM for the Spanish in Winterville, and WYLT LP 100.3 on the FM dial. That's New Bern. So Awesome Radio has been a strong benefactor. Hot diggity, I got that word. For documentation, it is owned and operated by a African American entrepreneur. That's how I'll say. And it's the Awesome Radio Network, and it is moving and moving fast. We pursuing and we've discussed a little earlier today about documenting the African American history that exists in Pitt County. She's all for it. And we do know that Bear Hug was here last week, and he is doing something of that nature because right now he's producing a movie on Tricky Sam. So we're wishing him the best. And when it comes out, I'm encouraging you to um, go see that movie when he brings it out. Young man, married with children, and I'm just excited that he is still here in Greenville, and he wants to pick up some of the positive things we have that may appear negative to some folks, but for us it was positive. So today, as I sit here alone and I can't make jokes to my guest that's not here, uh, I want you to know about a young man, a young woman who will be a part of this documentation. Her name is um, Nisha, Niesha. Now, I won't call her last name right now, but she will be a part of this documentation of history. And hopefully, there's one other group I'd like to see come in, uh, which is a ECU um, organization that is sponsoring a scholarship in my honor, documenting the community and history. Oh, and I'm very excited about it. Not because it's about my name, but it's picking up information about us, about African American, and what we've done. And this show will not be about just African American, because I do know about some Hispanic residents who have cut or sliced the grain of positive things. And this is so much negative nowadays, so much negative, that we want to bring out good things about the various cultures that exist right here in Pitt County. I talked about how many languages, and I think it was at that time 375 languages that Pitt County Schools has to deal with, that's spoken at home, and some of it flows into the school. So we are having to deal with a very strong international culture here in Pitt County. And when County Manager Janice Gallagher was here, uh, we talked about this strong international um, community that we have in Greenville, and we need to embrace it as a positive way rather than seeing all of this come out in the news, whichever our popular news channel uh, has to deliver the news, and that's always, not always, but in some cases, a very ugly action that has occurred within our communities. So I'm very excited on being a part of this, um, gathering, mentioning, talking with people who have made history right here in Pitt County, because I have a classmate who was the first fire chief for the city of Greenville. That was my classmate. His name is Raymond Leon Carney. Now, you know I know him if I know the Leon name. And this is his birthday. Happy birthday, Raymond Carney. It's this month. I don't have my paper to tell me which it is, but I want to mention happy birthday to you, my brother. My classmates are my brothers and sisters because I was a change of life baby for my parents. And so I did not grow up with my sisters. There were no brothers. I did not grow up with my sisters. I grew up with my classmates and my oldest nephew, who was Arthur Earl Daniels, who's also deceased. So, but for Raymond, I want to say happy birthday in December. And Raymond Carney still lives, and his wife is Dee Dee Carney. Now, if Dee Dee is not her name, then I don't. That's all I've ever called her. And if I can remember Dee Dee, which is DED, that's a good thing for me, because I can't keep up with the name. Love the both of you, and I look forward to talking to you soon. And what we are going to talk about today is the documenting. East Carolina presented me with the scholarship. And in that special collection, I documented, I had an oral history grant from North Carolina State Library. They awarded me with a grant while I was at ECU. And I did some oral history taping at Joyner Library for people like Dee Dee Garrett, who went to North Carolina College at the time, known as North Carolina Central University. He was an insurance salesman, a realtor. He did a lot to make a living for himself and wife and two boys. So not only was that, I did a oral history documentation of Mr. Golden Frink, who was a strong activist and civil rights um, worker right here in Eastern North Carolina, and he just happened to live in Edenton, North Carolina. So those two I know exist, and I did talk. I do know that Dr. Andrew A. Best was a doctor for my children, and he taught a uh, community class for health education of that time, the African American schools. Dr. Best was a teacher for health. He taught sex education, human health of bodies, and our parents allowed us to drive to High School. Epps High School at that time was the segregated school for black children who live within the boundaries of the city of Greenville. So we have a strong history, and before um, we all are taken to that place in the beyond by God, because none of us came here to stay, I would like to do more of leaving that history here for people to know that we as a people, African Americans, and back there we would call Negro, we would call some other slang words, we would call African Americans, and we would call other words. And then we were also labeled as colored people, COLORED, color, people of color. So these are all the names that we've gone through as a race of people right here in this country of the United States. So we should reach out and document what we're having. This is the first half of the show today, and I'm introducing what um, a group of us have gotten together to do further documentation on the positive or maybe negative to some people, but on the things that the African American residents in Pitt County participated in that we feel were absolutely positive for us as a growing community. Um, I am so excited to have the Awesome Radio Network become a part of this documentation. Awesome Network has GPAC as an affiliate, which is Channel 23, the educational um, um, television station right here in Pitt County. She has all of these other radio channels, stations that is a part of her network, and she is steady gaining um, information for media presentation. So I'm looking forward to what she does. We won't have to plead and beg others to be a part of documenting a part of the African American community as well as other communities here in Pitt County. We are a really serious international culture right here in Pitt County. And Pitt County is one of the largest masses in eastern North Carolina. And when what I considered eastern North Carolina is those areas east of I-95. I-95 run from Virginia to South Carolina and right through the eastern part of North Carolina. So I'm excited that these medias and professionals are coming together to document some history for people who've been here a long time and who can remember some of the things that we are doing. And this is the first time I'm doing social media on this network, Awesome Radio Network alone. So you'll find me on Facebook, uh, social media, YouTube, and everything else that's social media that is affiliated with Awesome Radio Network. I'm on right now. I'm looking at myself on the laptop that she has before me. And she said, "Are you going to go on social media today, Miss Mary?" And I said, "Well," and she said, "You could. We're here time enough to set up." And I said, "Well," and then she said, "Okay." I said, "All right, I will. I will." So this is my maiden voyage on social media on the Awesome Radio Network. And the word network, for those of you who may not know, it means a group of different entities coming together in one place or under one administrator or leader to do. And I forgot to turn my radio off, my telephone. I'm trying to do it now while I talk. But come together to share in likeness of information. That's what a network does, a group of different pieces of something coming together under one administration or one CEO. And I'm so happy that um, Awesome Radio Network has decided to live here in Pitt County. Not only does it help the tax base, it also helps the people here. And documentation is what it's doing today. If you would like to participate, I'm going to give you the number that you can call in today. We will open, and I don't have my Awesome Radio call in um, telephone number. So let me peep over here and see if I wrote it someplace. It's 252 mm, 256. There it is on the bottom. 252 256 2008. That is the telephone number that you can call in on Awesome Radio. I misquoted. 252 756 2008. That's the number you can call in. You can talk live. And if you have a history that you would like to share with us, and it's a minute and 48 seconds remaining in this first part. This show goes very fast, it seems to me. Call your friends if you're a senior. And seniors now is known as those people who are 60 plus years old. But I'm particularly interested in the people who are 70 and above because we never know when our time will come. And I would like for you to share the name of those people because I may not know them all, even though I am a resident of life right here in Pitt County. Now, I did go out and come back and go out and come back because I did go to school in Durham and for North Carolina Central University and for master in South Carolina at University of South Carolina in Columbia for my master in library and information studies. Um, I felt like since my father died while I was he transitioned while I was a member. I got 33 seconds. I'll talk about that later on. And you're listening to Awesome Radio, the Mary Perkins-Williams show right here on Awesome Radio, 107.5 on the FM dial, 1570 on the AM dial. You have time to call your friends and tell them to tune in to Awesome Radio and tell them that the Mary Perkins-Williams show is airing, and I will be talking about seniors and documenting our history. See you in the next segment. Thank you very much for listening.
God bless you from Awesome Radio. This is Sharice Boyd Jackson. Have a happy and Merry Christmas. And let us remember that Jesus is the reason for this and all seasons. We are Awesome Radio.
It's time to power up your day with a 1-minute focal point from Pastor Mike Fabarez.
You know, when the Apostle Paul shared the gospel in Athens, he had to start by taking time to explain the Old Testament, the principles from the Old Testament. He realized that his Greek audience there did not have the same theological foundation as those that were educated in the Jewish tradition of the Old Testament. See, that's an important distinction that we can observe in that passage and then apply in the 21st century, knowing that our neighbors and co-workers are much more similar to the Athenians than they are to those Jewish Sabbath school graduates. So, in your next evangelistic discussion, please remember to set the stage and carefully explain the nature and the authority of the God of the Old Testament before you start to present the grace and the gospel found in the New Testament.
Get more hard-hitting, straight-up Bible teaching when you listen to Focal Point's half-hour program. Consider Pastor Mike Fabarez as your personal Bible coach. He'll take you through the paces right here on this station. And listen anytime at focalpointradio.org.
Hello, this is Kieran Corey, and I listen to Awesome Radio. Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Remember to eat right, stay active, and be fit. God bless, and have a great year.
I'm back here on Awesome Radio, on the Mary Perkins-Williams Show, 1570 on the AM dial, 107.5 on the FM dial. I started out and I have already completed my first part of the segment, and this is where we normally have our calendar. There is planning, and it's not for this year, but we will do the initial planning for the rest of December on documenting African American and others international residents' history, how they came to Pitt County, and how they fare, how they suffer, and why. These documents, we hope, the interviewing process will be done sometime near the bottom, the 2 weeks of January, sometime during the last part of the January, so that we can have a sizable documentation to share in February, hopefully the last Saturday in February. And that was the only day back in the days where the area of North Carolina celebrated Black history, was the last day in the month. And this 26th, it will be on a Saturday. So we will be making documentary showing, hopefully, if everything works out okay, history of African Americans, because African Americans were the largest population other than the Caucasian or the white population right here in Eastern North Carolina. I'm excited. I am bubbling with excitement about this, and I'm so thankful that the thought comes to me in a positive way of documentation. And to know that back in the early days, I did some documentation of African American history, and I'd like to thank the sponsor, which was North Carolina Department of Libraries, who granted me a grant to do that documentation at Joiner Library. And I was happy that Don Lennon was in charge of special collection, and he allowed us to do the taping, the videotaping in the special collection area for that documentation. I don't remember how many we were able to document, but when you come back, or when we come back after the dates, so start thinking about it. You have history seniors. You have some knowledge of things that's not in the textbooks. You have a knowledge of things that has not been recorded on television, a news or whatever, because I think we only appeared highly uh, uh, small. It was a small frequency that we appeared in a positive way. Most of the African American history that the media showed back in the day was negative. It was shot, dying, just those things that happen when people don't agree. So now everybody don't agree. The whole country is messy, it seems like to me. But and I like smiling and I like having people to smile when I'm around. So we'll be coming back to talk about, and I would like very much for you to call in. You do not have to give your name on this second segment, but I want you to have, Lordy, everybody already have my number, so I shouldn't mind giving it out. But I want you to be able to get in touch with me, and you can always have people reach out to me at the Pitt County Government Office building, and they can send me, give you, I'm going to give you my email address, uh, and then they can give you a telephone number for me uh, in case you want to get up to with me personally. But we do want to document positive history. And I'm talking a lot about African American history, but it does not mean that the other 374 people who speak another language cannot be a part of this, because I do know that Javier is a part of that, and he was the Hispanic American that is associated here, and he has a large group of followers in his network, and we will be I will be contacting him as well to become a part of this documentation. And in July, the third weekend in July, I think, is International Day. International Day is July, and I don't have it on here, but there is a International Day in the United States that documents all of our brothers and sisters and whatever you like to say about them. These are a time of turmoil, and we are looking for positive things. The number to call is 252 756 2008. I would love for you to call. You can give me a name of a person or yourself so that we can include you in this interviewing process as documented history. Principals of schools, teachers of long time, your recollection of how the education process worked for African American children. If you had the first Hispanic class of dual language, I would like to have you as a part of that, how that became into being. I do remember Emmett Floyd. Emmett Floyd was the superintendent of Pitt County Schools, who came when we integrated the two school systems, Greenville City and the Pitt County City. And I served on that merger board for 6 years. So we have a lot of positive history that we can document. Then maybe we can convince these people who don't understand that history is the foundation on which everything else is built. So we're going to try to do something good in Pitt County, and we're going to try to do something positive about what we do, that say that blacks have rosy red eyes and cannot speak very well. And we do know the language of English exceedingly well because we all had to learn it when we were in school. I am looking forward. I'm going to invite, I plan to get up with the school. The name of this is the NC Retired School. I would love to have you be a part of this as well, because the teachers of that retired system here in Pitt County know how it was as being the recipient of African American children in the traditionally all white school or in a Caucasian school. And that is worth it. That's history. I don't know how it felt when my nephews and nephew went to Belleville High School. We are getting on the last part, 43 seconds, and I do hope this phone rings. 252 756 2008. We have a few seconds before this part ends, but we want you to make strong phone call. We're approaching something new for us, and I'm excited about it, and I'd like for you to get excited too. 252 756 2008. And I do know that we have some positive history that we can share on Awesome Radio Network. I'll see you in a few seconds. Thank you so much.
I'm Miriam Neff with New Beginnings. Our government is in turmoil. Talking to folks in D.C. recently, it's not just perception, it's reality. However, I am a Christ follower first and then a citizen of this country. Actually, just an ambassador here, citizen of heaven, just passing through. We need to remember tumultuous times existed in Jesus' day. He did not focus on changing the Roman government. He called on God's people to be pure. The Jewish leaders were corrupt too. Our great need is to examine ourselves before God. Is He first in my heart, my calendar, my finances, my relationships? Each morning I pray for God to direct my thinking, my being, the essence of who I am, my doing, and my saying. A clear conscience before God is comfort in tumultuous times.
This feature at widowconnection.com.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Have a Merry Christmas from Kingdom Conversation here at Awesome Radio.
Welcome back, Radio Awesome radio audience. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show. I am Mary Perkins-Williams. Just happen to be your county commissioner for District 2. We were talking about what Awesome Radio Network will be doing to document our history for this area. Pitt County is one of the strongest international communities in eastern North Carolina. I know that there are people here a lot in the summertime who live in the Morehead City area, Hyde County, or where Madam Mesquite is and all of that. I know that there are other communities who live here in the summer months, but they are not the permanent residents of eastern North Carolina. So I am excited. Some of our history is already documented. And at the introduction of this, I have the historical archives, 2 volumes of it that was produced. And I bought those 2 volumes because I did not know that my mother was a part of one of those civil rights marches, and she was on the front. My mother wasn't but 4 feet tall. And everybody from the area in which we live, which is north of the Tar River, said my mother was a pistol. She was strong, I must say, but she was my mother. No matter what they said about her, she was my mother. And she did talk a lot. And I guess that's why. And she was a parent of foster care children. She was not the first. I think Miss Neela Reed was the first who had, that we know, foster care children in her home. So we had some children at brief period of a time who was foster care that did not look like us, but the circumstance in which they were lived in, my mother had space, and she was willing to accept them. And right next door to our residence was a family called Balafas, Balafas. I've got to know what that means at some point, where that name comes from. Louise held my Bible because my mother and father were dead when I first was elected to this position. My son, waited at the old hospital at that time. Because that's what she remembered. And she came from where she lived, Aden, to the old hospital, and my son walked her up and met her so that she didn't have to walk alone. And my son and Miss Louise held my Bible for my swearing in of the oath of office for the Pitt County Board of Commissioners in the seat where I now hold. We're not talking about politics today. We're talking about documenting history of those people who are not considered to be the majority of the population of Pitt County. And this idea came up when I saw, I'm going to invite the language person, the global language person from Pitt County Schools back to this show to talk about how many languages there are now, how many it was when the show was first visited this station with the languages. I don't have my notebook, but I did keep a sheet on every guest that I had for this awesome radio network. And so please give us a call, 252-756-2008. I would like to document. I'm going to be here a little bit afterwards. And just in case you don't want to have your name on the radio, I know she has another number you can call, and I can stay here for a half an hour to get the documentation, because I have something in my card that I would like to present to Akila today. Mac, I'm not going to mess up her husband's last name, but I know how it looks like on paper. But I have something in my card that I'm going to present to her today for being a loving resource for Pitt County and its areas right here in eastern North Carolina. The number to call today is, and this is a live conversation we will have, 252-756-2008. Now, I know that Mr. Johnson has a newspaper called the Daily Drum, beating the drum. That was the second media in print that's owned by African Americans. The first one was, what was WOO? What was Jim Rouse's radio? The Minority Voices. It was the Minority Voices, and it was owned and operated by Jim Rouse. First name was James, and Rouse was the last name. And he inherited this, and I don't know how that business deal went, but he inherited WOOW from Freddie and Danny Jacobson. Freddie and Danny Jacobson owned WOOW, and they were Caucasians at the time. And Jim Rouse inherited the station through their kindness. I don't know all the business. I don't want to know all the business that went on, but I do know Jim Rouse kept the station for a number of years, um, and he is no longer with us. And maybe I can find someone who were a part or who still lives in that. I know Donovan Phillips was a good friend of his, and the last I know, Donovan is still living. So, Donovan Phillips, we would like to get in touch with you here at Awesome Radio. The number to call is 252-756-2008. I am looking forward to doing this documentation, oral history, with media from Awesome Radio Network, GPAC, uh, which is channel 23, which is an educational uh, station for here in Eastern North Carolina, uh, Pitt County. We talked about Pitt County, its sizes, its contents, 10 organized municipalities, and many other townships, a lot of subdivisions. And um, we have industrial sites, and we are still growing. I'm looking forward to having this documentation because there are positive things that African American people have done in Pitt County. And we were, all of its documentation may not exist because we were not a part of that documentation process. So let's know that the foundation on which anything is built is history. I, I, there were some beautiful houses in Greenville that no longer existed because the decision was made that we should tear these old houses down and make Greenville look new. If you don't have a strong foundation, you're gonna split open and fall or share and drop. But we were built on a strong this country was built on a strong foundation, and we should be proud of it, good, bad, or indifference. And it takes all of us in the foundation to keep it strong, to keep it good, and to grow and progress on the goodness it has, as well as the bad that is um, projected. Bad seem to sell papers and make business for some people. I am happy that we have awesome radio here, and I'm happy that we have still some seniors who are 70 and above that can share with us history. But the next airing, I'm hoping I can get the lady who is the global language person for Pitt County Schools. And do you know, it was just recently that we have our first African American principal. And he's been on the show, Dr. Lassiter. So we can document that. And the documentation doesn't have to come out right now because there are collections that are sealed at East Carolina University. People didn't want it unsealed for a certain period of time, and they thought that they would be dead when the unsealing takes place. There are a lot of things good that has happened in this county. I would love to see the positive end of the county to grow, develop, and be a part of the increasing foundation, because where Pitt County government is today, over there on 1717 West 5th Street, you find the offices for the CEOs of Pitt County, finance, planning, over there at 1717, still here. And that building is crumbling apart. Thank be to God. We have a plan in place where we will start building its replacement. So good things are happening here. We have a wonderful staff, and new things are happening. We're on the television, we're on the radio, and the staff has been sharing their knowledge and their expertise throughout Pitt County and beyond. Last night, I sent out the Christmas greeting to Pitt County residents from the county manager. She made a blurb, or the media department sent us a copy of the Merry Christmas greeting from our county manager. The manager is the person who maintains order, create policies, and handle hiring and everything else for the Pitt County government. And we met the manager, and Greenville is a county seat. We've been through this history. And we met that manager, who is a unique person. And I looked at a picture. I remember he came and said, "Let's take this picture, Commissioner." And I looked at it. He had on, is it horns like a, it was a funny show that we were to. And I had on a unique costume, and he had on one. And I couldn't stop giggling for a straight face picture. But anyway, we've had some fun. So we are looking for you to please be a part of it. We will be growing on this show from the rest of the year. I will have a presenter until into January of documenting. And we want to start documenting these interviews so that on February, we can have a big hoopla on having the people who appeared in these documented interviews come and be the guests of Awesome Radio, Mary Perkins-Williams, G-Pack, any other group. We were hoping that Bear Hug will be a part of us. If not Bear Hug, I know someone in Bertie County who has a movie production, and her children works for what's that in California? California Studios. The California Studios, and they came and did some recording in Bertie County for the Equity Films. That's the name of that movie production in Bertie County. We have a lot of residents here. Seems like every time I turn around, someone in Pitt County started up in Bertie County. That ain't hating comment. That's happy to be here because they putting money into our tax dollars. But they are not far from home, and they're able to go back home to take care of their loved ones who are aging, because I know we did have a very good staff member here who left, and it hurt a great deal that she left and went back to Bertie to take care of both of her parents. And she was in the board of elections at the time, and her father had gotten sick, and she left to go back with her. How do I know? Because I asked her why was she leaving Pitt County, and we done invested in her and trained her and everything. She says it's a lot of driving during the week. Go checking on my mother and helping with my father. Those things do happen. I did the same thing. I had to come back because I was in the process of leaving. But my father died while I was in. That's where we left off the last time. My father died while I was getting my master from the University of South Carolina at Columbia. And when he transitioned, my mother and my children was making many calls to my cell phone, and I was on my way back to check on my children and my mother. And when I arrived, the hearse was pulling away, and the a coroner had already ruled that my father had expired. And uh, when you lose those kinds of relatives, that's a void that can never be filled. So please, while you live, come and share with us your information about how it was in the days in which you grew up when you lived. I remember that there was a babyface gang in Pitt County, and the guys couldn't come across the Tall River. I lived on the north side of the river. The guys couldn't come, but they said that there were some strong females on the other side of the river that looked good. We could come. The girls could come, but them boyfriends couldn't come. And it was something. And I'm sure that that group is mentioned in the newspaper. So if any of those still live, we'd like to have that history. And we can seal it. We can seal it that it not be shown until you have expired. I mean, and there are a lot of other things, not bad, but good. So I like to see that. And we have gangs now and in the county. This is what law enforcement says. We have gangs. We have we have clubs that are not. My goodness, this is the end of it already. Goodness gracious, this last, and it's the largest. Well, I will be leaving this show in a few seconds, like 30, and I look forward to having you call 252-375-6208. I closed my eyes and pulled it out. 252-756-2008. We'd love to have you give me some names so that we can give you an invitation. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show on Awesome Radio, the best in Eastern North Carolina Network.
Hi, I am Reverend Terry D. Streeter, pastor of the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Washington, D.C., and I'm wishing